Behind every great project manager is an even greater or exceptional coordinator. And here's my reason why. If you're new to the channel, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks, we're not going to complicate it. That just simply means Ed. Today's episode is entitled How Highly Effective Project Coordinators Provide Value to Project Managers. I have an 8 point framework in this 8 point. I hope one of these 8 points provides some type of value in your career, or if you're making an adjustment in your career, that you can be able to take this information and apply it. I love this quote by Lau. He says, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." I think when you, I no, not when I think, I know when you step into this thing that I call, that I love, that I hope that you fall in love with, called project management, you normally start as a project coordinator. And a coordinator is that first initial step before you becoming that actual project manager. So I thought that quote was definitely relevant to what today's discussion is. So I'm going to go over my 8 point framework, and then after that, I'm going to let you guys go. So let's work. Stress management and workload balance. Basically, the reason why project coordinators provide so much value to a project manager, what they do is they help balance the workload by not just even with the project manager, but also with the team. And they're an advocate for real, and I do mean realistic timelines and expectations. Also, they prevent burnout, and they're keeping and maintaining a productive, suitable work environment. Hey, family, I want to thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button for more project management and personal development thoughts. I know some of you guys out here that are watching and not hitting subscribe or like. You tell me what I need to do to get that subscriber like. I'm willing to do it long as it's ethical, okay? But anyway, sign up for our newsletter as well. This newsletter comes out bi-weekly. It will be around the two things that I really love and enjoy, which is project management and personal development. It would mean a lot to me if you guys really look at that newsletter. And again, I'm open to feedback. Also, share this with your fellow project managers. If you're not a project manager, share it with someone that is maybe thinking about getting in this thing that I love, that I hope you fall in love with, called project management. Let's move into point number two: feedback collection and being able to analyze. Listen, one of the things the coordinator does extremely well is they gather and analyze feedback from team members and stakeholders for continuous improvement. I like to call this the good person and bad person. What do you mean by that, ED? I know I'm talking to a smart and intelligent audience, so I appreciate you asking me that. So you have to switch it up. Most of the time the project manager needs to pay the bad person. When I mean bad person, meaning the person that is always looking to critique, but critique with tact, not just being, someone that is critiquing without being tactful. Also, being the project manager will look to be able to say, hey, being able to push back. But the coordinator, it comes in and really creates that more of that nurturing support, creating that more of that. Yeah, I don't know why ED is doing that. I mean, maybe let me go talk to him and see what I can do, and then we would work together. I'm like, okay, maybe we don't need to finish on this particular day. Maybe we could throw in a couple extra days. And now that coordinator goes back to that team and said, hey, I was able to buy you a couple more days, and they feel great and everything. And now you create that type of cohesiveness when the coordinator is assisting and leading that particular project. And again, they also provide actionable insight how to improve the project. If you're working with a coordinator as a project manager, I don't care what level you are, if you are senior, mid-level, or basically you need to pay attention to what your coordinator is saying. I truly believe your coordinator is really like your, another pair of eyes that's watching your back. And if you have an exceptional one, they're going to make sure that nothing happens to you or the actual project. Let's move on to point number three: innovation and process improvement. Listen, they're always looking to contribute ideals for process improvement and innovation solution. Listen, we're in a world now, you can't just sit back, as they would say, sit back on your laurels. You have to always be looking to innovate, but when you innovate, make sure that you have quality involved in that you're not just throwing out stuff just to see what's going to stick. And you also have to understand, with a coordinator, they bring fresh perspective to the actual project. because there's going to be conversations like I shared with you earlier about good, good person, bad person, of saying that the team may feel more comfortable talking to the coordinator and giving them information because of the relationship that they develop during the project. So them being able to really being the coordinator, being able to assist on finding ways to help the project manager implement process with efficiency is going to be key. Point number 4, vendor and supplier coordination. Listen, with a project coordinator, they can streamline external interactions, freeing the project manager from day to day operational details. Listen, family, when you're working with vendors, there's a lot of communication going back and forth, as well as you're working with the internal team. So, with a project coordinator to being able to step in to really assist on that external piece and bringing the things to you that and these are expectations that you need to sit when you sit down with your coordinator to say, hey, if something comes up that you feel that you can't handle, let's sit and talk through it. Or if things are coming in, one of the things also, this is a bonus, this is part of even with this, is that you want to be able to sit down with your coordinator probably once or twice a week and see what are some of the things that have come up and what were some of the decisions that particular coordinator made. And you don't want to be someone that's micromanaging that coordinator where they can't make a decision, because eventually the whole goal, the whole step is to be able for them to be a project manager. So if they can't learn from the mistake, then how are they going to actually be able to move forward? Before it as a project manager. So as a project manager, as an exceptional project manager, you should be developing that confidence in them to say, make a decision, don't make a choice. Make a decision, don't make a choice. And we know the decision. I mean, we know the difference. When you make a decision, you cut off everything else. This is what I'm going with. This is the reason why I'm going with it. When you make a choice, anything will work. It's like I've heard that saying where if you don't know where you want to go, any destination will work. So being able to build that confidence in your project coordinator is going to be key. Point number 5, quality control and monitoring. Listen, coordinators can ensure project deliveries meet quality standards. They can implement regular quality checks and involve team members in the quality assurance process. Listen, here's the value here with that. They help maintain high standards and reducing the need for revisions, saving time for the project manager. There's a lot of things we can get back in life, but time is one of those elements we would never be able to get back. So being able to have a project coordinator come in and save the project manager time it's a blessing. It's a gift. Trust me. Point number 6, project history documentation. Listen, the explanation really behind this is the documentation, the history, as well as the evolution of the project is going to be key for future projects as a reference. I always like looking back at my old projects as references, like what did I do well? What didn't I do well? How could I have supported the team better? How could I have pulled back and allow the team to be more of a self-organized team? So being able to keep these detailed records during each particular phase and decision making will definitely be key. This is a valuable resource that I don't think as project managers we don't use a lot, because we normally wait to the end to do our lessons learned register and still instead of going through the whole process. And I get it, because I've been guilty of it as well, because you're just moving so fast and you're moving from phase to phase, and if something happens, you're finding ways to solve that problem. Then once you get through that problem, and if something else comes up, so I definitely get it. I've been guilty of it as well, so I'll raise my hand to that. Yes, I'm guilty, but the thing is, even though I'm guilty, I had to learn from it, and I'm constantly learning from it. Let's move on to point number 7. Point number 7 is crisis management support. Listen, one of the things that an exceptional project coordinator does for the project manager is in times of crisis, project coordinator provide vital support in managing the situation. Like I said, nothing like having an exceptional project coordinator, because they're really like they really watch your back. When you have an exceptional one, they want to make sure that you're protected because they know that you're protecting them. And when I mean protection, I mean, literally, if I miss something or if they miss something, it's not about throwing each other under the bus. It's about covering each other. Okay, you don't like that one. If I miss something and they miss something, it's really about stepping in and being a leader and not a manager. Oh, I like that one. The reason why I like that one, family, is because a lot of times when we partner with someone, we want to be the manager instead of the leader. As the leader, we look at it from, hey, you're so if you did make a mistake, I would think something is wrong with you. But as a manager, we try to really belittle them. We try to make them feel less than. That is not the approach. So being able to for a coordinator to step in crisis situation when I identify with crisis, being able to jump in and handle problems, it really helps the project manager navigate through the crisis with minimum project disruption. Point number 8, they can really help provide creative solutions to unseen problems. You want to be able to, and I always say this when you have a project coordinator, I said it earlier, family, and I stand on this, is that you want to empower your project coordinator. Please do not try and micromanage. Don't even use the word try. Don't micromanage it. You want to be there for support. You want to understand if they're thinking about making a decision, you want to be able to, before they make a decision, let's sit down and talk about it. Hey, what are you gonna do with this problem we have? What do you suggest? What decision would you make? And see what they would say. And then once they do that, then it opens up a great opportunity to say, now let me tell you why that decision will work or won't work. Now you've done gave them an education that they'll be able to apply when they become a project manager. I was just watching a video by it was a clip from Jeff Bezos. I thought it was, it was, man, it was so immaculate. It was so amazing. I would love to share this with you today if you don't mind. So in the video, Jeff Bezos talked about how when he's in a meeting, he's the last one to speak. And the reason why is he said normally when he's in a meeting with, anyone down all the way to from the junior to the mid level to the executive, he's the last one to speak because if he's the first one to speak, all the way down at the junior level, maybe even the mid level, they may lose confidence in whatever the problem in this particular solution that they were coming to, that they were actually going to use to solve that actual problem, and start really not thinking with true confidence, like, oh well, that's Jeff Bezos, I know he got it, or that's that. So being the last one to speak, I also heard Simon Sinek talked about that as well in his interview. So it's important, family, when you are the project manager, you want to be the last person to speak. And the reason why you want to be the last person to speak is you want to give your project coordinator an opportunity to see how they would address and solve that particular problem. Here's my bonus for you today, family. Event planning and coordination. Listen, for projects involving events, coordinators handle the intricacies of event planning and execution. Listen, they're looking to they have an approach to detail, and this right here really relieves the project manager of the complexities involved in the actual event planning. Let me close with these 3 closing remarks. Listen, point number 1 in the closing remarks: stress management and workload balance. As a project manager, if you're an exceptional project manager, you're going to want to take on everything. And when you do that, you will create a stress level for you that, sometimes is good and sometimes is bad, depending on the person. It's subjective. But having a project coordinator allows you the freedom to see the problems. What I'm leading into point number 2 of this, to be able to see the problems that come up before they happen. And a coordinator can help you solve it in a creative standpoint. And again, if this is a coordinator that's an exceptional project coordinator. And the last and final point is crisis management support. Really, a coordinator having your back and you having their back. And by doing so, it really provides a pivotal aspect in steering the project towards success. Family, I hope you truly enjoyed today's episode. I go by the name AD. Until next time, I'm out.